Hey everyone, it's me, Ruby Collins, and I am here at One Police Plaza. Welcome to police headquarters. That's what it says over there. Welcome to police headquarters. And I have to tell you, it's been a very long time, maybe how many years now, since I retired. I was supposed to retire at 24. It's been about 6 years since I retired. And just being back here, oh my gosh. I don't know if you can see it. It brings back so much memories, you know, it brings back so much memories. And I walked in, and when I started this, when I was a police officer, I was a little girl then. And, and now I come back, I'm here to take care of my gun licensing. We have to register our guns every year. And I come back here a woman with so much knowledge and understanding and excitement, enthusiastic about life, and I ran into a friend of mine. I want to just share this quick story with you. I don't know where should I want to make this story short because I can talk and I always talk long. But there was a singer here at the time when I was also singing. She used to sing before me as a police officer, and when I was on patrol, one day I was on patrol and I went into a pizza shop to have pizza, and I saw this newspaper article, and it was an officer here. Her name is Kim Royster, and she had went to the White House to sing. And I was so excited to see this black woman who had gone to the White House to sing, and she was in the papers. And I tore that article out and I put it in my memo book. And I said, one day that's going to be me. If she can do it, I can do it. And I've always said, if they can do it, I can do it. If I, from the time I watch police officers, I would say, if she can do it, I can do it. Nevertheless, if she can go to the White House, so can I. I say that article, and 2 years later, I was at the White House. Well, about a year ago, I'm walking the street, coming from one of my schools that I was teaching music at, and I happened to see this newspaper that was all, sprawled out on the floor, on the ground. And I said to myself, and I looked, and there was this picture of a black woman in a uniform. And I said, now the only black woman in a uniform like that has a picture a spread that wide could be Kim Royster, because I know her and we grew up together as officers. This article talked about this black woman who was at the highest ranking position, assistant chief executive officer. She's a deputy, assistant chief. She's the assistant chief. And, the changes and things that she'll be doing and all this stuff. And it was Kim Royster. It was her again. I found her, I'm walking 20 years later, and here it is, this article on the ground, and a picture of her. And I said, what is this? Is this like an omen that I would stumble upon this article? And it'll be the same, idea in my mind, like 20 years ago when I found her article, and I said, if she can be at the White House, I can be at the White House. I picked up that article off the ground. It was dirty. People had stepped all over it. I folded it up and put it in my little guitar sack. And I said, this is God's way of showing me that this is Kim. This is the same woman who inspired me 20 years ago to get to the White House. And she had just now achieved the highest ranking in the police department as a black woman. And she's in the papers again. And I said, well, I'm not an officer. Maybe it's God's way of saying that I will have another experience where it'll show that as a black woman, as a woman in general, or whoever we are, men, boy, child, that whatever we set our goals and our dreams to do, we can do it. Well, long story short, I'm down here. I was getting ready to leave the building, and sure enough, who did I run into? Not Kim Royster, but I ran into someone in her office. I went and hung out with him for a little bit. We chatted a little bit, and she runs that community affairs. And I got to see her, and it was so exciting. We hugged, and we shared and we talked and updated each other on what was going on in our lives. Well, for me, I know what she's doing. And it was just so amazing. And her assistant said, man, I walked in. She goes, from the moment I saw you. This is what her assistant, another lady, when I began sharing her briefly my story, she said, when I walked into the office, I saw you standing there. You had this energy of life, of health. I said, really? She said, yes. You had this energy of life, of health. And I was just like, who is this person? You know, you wasn't slouched. You looked energetic. You looked healthy. And I said, girl, if you only knew what I know and what God has opened the doors for me, I would not have chosen cancer, but I would not have changed it because I would have not learned what I've learned. Yeah. And it was amazing that I would run into Kim Royster. And she wasn't even here at the time. You know, she wasn't here when I came in the office. But I just happened to be a little bit longer. In walks Kim Royster, Assistant Chief of Community Affairs. Assistant Chief. She's a chief. And we were both police officers. And she started sharing with me what she's doing with women around the country and so forth. But I shared with her if she needs anyone to talk about health, I'd love to come and entertain. But I'll, share my story of health. And I'm still a singer. So I could very much come in and, be invited to do something with them again. But nevertheless, the main thing is being able to share my story. And I was so happy to be here. So I just wanted to share that with you. Know that everything that we do in our journey and in our... My battery's running low, so I'm going to cut this short. Anything that we're doing in our daily lives are God's way of talking and communicating with us, or the universe, or the inner voice, whatever you want to refer to it as. It's the universe and God's way of speaking to you. Because I was leaving this building. You're not going to be able to see it because the sun is probably in the way. But I was leaving this building, and sure enough, I got to meet, my friends, and I was, stumble upon. I didn't think anyone would be here. It's been 20 years. I didn't think they would be here, but they ran into me. It's like, Ruby. I was like, yes. So everything in our lives are happening for a reason. Take every little moment, things that are happening as God's way or the universe's way of saying, stop, and what can you do with this moment that's going to impact your life in the future, okay? All right, I'm going to head home. Yesterday, my kids and I were taking care of our passports, and that's why I came down here as well, because I was dealing with my son's passport. We're going to Trinidad in July, first 2 weeks of July, to go see my auntie Ruby. And, and that's how breast cancer changed my life. I'm not sitting around hustling for the man or anybody, or even for myself in that way. What's more important? What's most important? What's most important is being able to take in this amazing sun, the vitamin D that we all need, and having the freedom and be able to inhale and exhale and love life and go and come as you please, because at the end of the day, we all have an expiration date. You might watch me and say, oh, well, you have cancer, and I might, your eyes might be a ticking time clock. But we don't know when our time is to go and what are we doing to enjoy and get the most out of life. And that's what breast cancer told me. Don't wait, enjoy. I ain't got time for that. I don't have time to get on with the stupidness and I don't have time for it. Life's about having fun, loving, living, and sharing. Thank you guys. Gotta go. On Police Plaza. Wow. Ooh, scary. I'm walking to it, but I know you probably won't be able to see it. You know how many years I walked this place? Oh my gosh. I used to work in community affairs. So many years. Oh jeez, I'm so glad those days are over. And I'm well and I'm alive and I'm healthy to enjoy the next journey.
Bye.